Most likely, many of you have heard the term a dog is a man's best friend. But what many of you may not know is the science that caused humans to bond so closely with animals. For thousands of years, animals such as dogs or horses had very important jobs that changed the outcome of human history. Originally, dogs were used to hunt, track, and kill prey, as well as guarding against danger, while horses have played important roles in agriculture, transportation, and warfare. Today, these animals are used for companionship, but I think the positive effects of the human-animal bond is still severely underestimated to this day. I think that daily interactions with the human-animal bond can without a doubt cause a positive effect on overall human health. While it is easy to tell externally how beneficial animals can be to humans, scientists are finding there is also a lot of internal benefits being found, most notably the cardiovascular health. In fact, the American Heart Association has discovered how pets positively impact overall heart health, specifically how pet parenthood can aid in the reduction of cardiovascular disease. They state, overall, pet ownership of any kind tended to be independently associated with survival. Dog ownership was strongly associated with decreased mortality, with the likelihood of mortality being 4.05 times greater for dog non-owners than for dog owners. Cardiovascular health benefits from animals are without a doubt aided by the increased physical activity that certain pets require, such as dogs. In fact, the Mayo Clinic health system states, one notable benefit is that dogs force you to get up and move. One research study found that dog owners are more likely to report regular physical activity than people who don't own dogs. Activities associated with dog ownership like feeding, grooming, playing, and letting them outside all increase physical activity levels. Physical activity improves blood flow, induces muscle contraction, and reduces joint stiffness. Animal ownership has also been found to help owners lose weight. As a matter of fact, the Mayo Clinic describes a study discussing exactly that, which states, in one study, adults who regularly walk their dogs were less likely to be obese than their non-dog owning neighbors. The same research found that dog owners are also more likely to report a healthy diet and blood sugar at ideal levels, which improves overall heart health. Walking for 30 minutes a day will reduce the risk of coronary heart disease, osteoporosis, colon and breast cancer, and type 2 diabetes. There has been a huge rise in animals being used in the mental health aid to millions of humans across the country, and it's showing amazing promise. In fact, Animal Health Foundation discusses how animals can help prevent depression. They explain, the National Institute of Mental Health recognizes animal-assisted therapy as a treatment for depression and other mood disorders because it can have a positive effect on depression in a number of ways. A pet requires its owner to remain active and can help him or her feel less isolated from society. A pet also remains a trusted companion even when its owner withdraws from its friends and family. In addition, animals have been found to have a huge impact on neurodivergent groups such as autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and dyspraxia. News and Health article The Power of Pets explains that the benefits that animals can have on these groups of people in great detail. One study about ADHD explains that dogs can help children with ADHD focus on their attention. Researchers enrolled 2 groups of children diagnosed with ADHD into 12-week group therapy sessions. The first group of kids read to therapy dogs once a week for 30 minutes. The second group read to puppets that looked like dogs. Kids who read the real animals showed better social skills and more sharing, cooperation, and volunteering. They also had fewer behavioral problems. To add on, News and Health also explains a study done on children with autism that explains another study found that children with autism spectrum disorder were calmer while playing with guinea pigs in the classroom. When the children spent 10 minutes in supervised group playtime with guinea pigs, their anxiety levels dropped. The children also had better social interactions and were more engaged with their peers. The researchers suggest that the animals offered unconditional acceptance, making them a calming comfort to the children. Similarly, animals have also been found to aid people who have suffered trauma in their past. The Trauma Institute and Child Trauma Institute describes this perfectly by stating, "The benefits of interactions with animals are well established, and the use of service and emotional support animals has become popular among traumatized individuals despite the paucity of research support for this specific purpose. In fact, therapists have begun using animals as a tool to invoke more trauma work in their patients," explaining the client's relationship with an animal can also be invoked during therapy. When trauma work becomes too difficult, the therapist might ask, "Who would you like to have with you for emotional support?" Sometimes the client chooses their pet, usually a dog. Then the therapist guides the client to imagine the presence of the pet. When facing the trauma memory, just as when the client chooses some other attachment figure such as a parent, relative, or friend, imaging the presence of the identified animal tends to have a calming, grounding effect, establishing the client to resume the trauma work. However, many could wonder why animals could be chosen to be used within the course of treatment for a patient. The Trauma Institute and Child Trauma Institute explains, animals are often used to facilitate self-regulation. Over the course of treatment, as well as afterwards, the most well-researched species for therapeutic benefit are dogs and horses. Through therapeutic connection with cats and farm animals has promise as well. Theoretical explanations for why animals might support trauma healing include the sensory stimulation of animals provides a comforting tether to the present moment, possibly minimizing intrusion symptoms. Animals serve as a social facilitation, possibly reducing symptoms of avoidance and experiences of isolation and disconnection. Connection with animals causes secretion of oxytocin, possibly reducing hyperarousal symptoms. Many may wonder the science that explains this phenomenon. There are two hormones in humans that are greatly affected during human-animal interaction, cortisol and oxytocin. Cortisol is described as a hormone produced by the adrenal glands on the top of the kidneys, involved in the stress response. It rises in the mornings, inducing wakefulness, and also rises during stress. Sleep deprivation, caffeine, and alcohol can also raise cortisol levels. Chronically high levels have been linked to low immunity, weight gain, and other health problems, while oxytocin is described as it influences social bonding, which is why it is also sometimes referred to as bonding or love hormone. As a medicine, oxytocin is sometimes given to pregnant women to induce or speed labor. Johns Hopkins Medicine explains, research has shown that simply petting a dog lowers the stress hormone cortisol, while the social interaction between people and their dogs actually increases levels of the feel-good hormone oxytocin. Speaking of stress, it has been proven that animals lower stress levels in humans astronomically. For instance, the American Heart Association states, pets can reduce work-related stress. 2 out of the 3 employees say work stresses them out, and 40% say that jobs get in the way of their health. Studies show that pets in the workplace help reduce stress and improve employee satisfaction. It is truly amazing how throughout history, animals have continued to evolve to help humans more and more every day. From creating stepping stones in our agriculture, such as plowing fields or tracking and killing prey for their owners, animals have now learned new important jobs, helping humans with their mental and physical health across the world. From boosting cardiovascular health, increasing physical activity, improving mental health, and even lowering stress levels, it is clear that daily interactions with an animal can have astronomically positive benefits on overall human health.